guys, happy Monday. It's time for last call over here on WagerTalk. We have a loaded show. It is a Monday night football, and we're bringing in Adam Trigger, Carmine Bianco, and Tom Viola, and we're going to be breaking down this game. Everything that you need to get into tonight when you're looking at this game, your sides, your totals, your props. You don't want to miss out on it. Now, you also want to get your odds logic screen up and ready because those lines are moving. We're starting to see the sharper books putting this as a pick'em. Well, we did see the Chicago Bears open as a favorite. We know those lines did move to Minnesota laying 1.5. And now we're seeing those pick'em places out there on the books. There's still some -1s for the Minnesota Vikings on other books, as well as -1 for Chicago. So shop those lines depending on what you like. Now we have seen that total open at 44.5. We're seeing 43.5 across the board. Not really seeing much movement off of that line. So make sure you get everything open. We're going to look at this breakdown between the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. And again, Adam Trigger, Carmine Bianco, and Tom Viola dropping in today to give you everything you need. Now, I just wanted to remind you guys, expiring at midnight on Tuesday, we have that package. And the package, the kickoff to football season, it will be gone. And you want to get it before it's gone because it's only $77, which is for a week. It's $11 a day for the picks from your favorite handicapper, all of their picks across the board. And then you guys, we also have the $5 Tuesday bets coming as well. So you want to make sure you jump onto that. Those bets will be released after 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. So when you're watching this game, you definitely can jump in to see what handicappers are liking for tomorrow's action. And that's just $5. So those two great promos out there. But let's kick everything off, you guys. We are jumping into Monday Night Football here on the last call. And I'm so excited for this one to kick off. We know we had a crazy Sunday Night Football game. Can this one follow it up? Let's see. Let's bring in Adam Trigger and see what he thinks.
What's going on, Joe? How's it going?
It's going pretty good, Adam. Good to have you here on a Monday Night Football. Thanks for stepping in and up. You've started off the NFL season red hot, right? 5-0, up 17 units.
Yeah, I had a really good preseason, so it should be pointed out, 4-0 in the NFL preseason. I made one bet in week 1. It was a 5% play on the Browns plus 5.5. And I was terrified when they were on their 1-yard line with 8 seconds to go because you know how that can go sometimes. But it worked out. It was the right side the whole game. 5.5 should have never even been a sweat, but we get it done. So, yeah, it's been a good start to the NFL season.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that. So the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Chicago Bears tonight. Are you shocked that we've seen this movement, this coming to a pick'em on most books?
No, I'm not at all surprised. This like most NFL games on the side, Joe. I feel like you can make a really good case for both sides, and that's just the NFL from week to week. So the way I'll probably look at this game, if I were to bet it, is going to be look for a prop because again, I think. You look at the Bears, you look at the Vikings. Bears have their new head coach, Ben Johnson. You'd like to think that would improve their offense. I like the Vikings just from last season, pretty much since Brian Flores got there. I really like the Vikings defense, and it's the first game of the season. So much unknown. I'm reading there's field issues, and it's Monday Night Football, 2 division rivals. So I think, again, this game could really, from a win-loss standpoint, go a million different ways. Where I'll probably look for value in this game is the tight end position for the Bears. And, they're, Loveland, the new tight end they have, he's going to be the one that's got the more sort of juiced up props, his over is higher. But Cole Kmet's still on the team. And I wouldn't be that surprised if he gets targeted a little bit here. So when I look at the Bears, new offense, Ben Johnson, my guess is it takes Caleb Williams some time. That was... Williams, one of his problems last year was distributing the ball to his playmakers, held onto the ball way too long, took too many sacks. So I don't think he's going to have this offense mastered yet by any means, but you'd have to think Johnson can help him in that regard. And, the Vikings can bring pressure. So I just think at some point he's going to have to look to his tight ends just to not get sacked. And you have to think the emphasis is on keeping him clean, or at least in his head, one of his biggest drawbacks last year was not releasing the ball quick enough. So I think he more likely to check it down if he needs to. And with Loveland being the sort of new number one, I think I'd rather take the other guy. So I'll say Cole Kmet. I think it's only like 11.5. I mean, he breaks off one play, gets targeted once. You got to think he can get 11 and 12 yards. It's a tough handicap. That's the way I would look, just because I think Williams is going to have to get rid of the ball.
I absolutely love where you're going there. We know those short passes can come to him. And when we look at last season, Adam, really interesting to see in that one game, the very first game versus the Bears, he went for 60-something receiving yards in that on 10 targets, was able to catch 7 of those and run. And then that second game, even though the Bears completely struggled out there, he still had 1 reception for 14 yards. So I think you're definitely on the money. Do you ever, when you're prop betting, fire those lines up, play some alt numbers on players like that, where that total is just so low at 11.5?
Truthfully, Joe, I rarely bet props. But the thing is, where the NFL is going, it's so hard to beat the side or even the game total in the NFL. The way I do that, my main thing is baseball. I get most of my volume from baseball, so I can be super selective. So that's one way. I think the other way, which I think I'm starting to gravitate to more, would be to find an angle like this, and then just to sort of hammer this one home. You've got Loveland. Loveland's clearly the main option. That's the more people are going to want to look toward that Loveland prop, which means the books have probably priced it better. I think they sort of left Kmet out there. It was like 10 at one point. I think it's up from that, but I would say anything like under maybe 14 here is probably good. And I just think that there's, a little bit more value than maybe, most games on the side. That's just kind of how I'm approaching NFL this year. I managed to find 4 spots in the preseason that work. I found one this week that works, and I'll continue to do that going forward.
Okay, I think that's a great philosophy to be rolling with there, Adam. Any quick thoughts on this total? Not putting a gun to your head that you have to roll with this, but we've got the total of 43 has now dropped on Sports 411. Would you think this game, because we're going to see those short passes, because we're going to see both quarterbacks under pressure, would you think it's still an under game, or could you see this one going over that total?
I'll tell you what, Joe, I think I'm most concerned about the field. I know that this is kind of coming out as we approach game time. They're trying to resod portions of the field. I know they had a run of concerts, I believe, at Soldier Field that kind of tore it up a little bit. Not saying that that's the end all be all, but you have 2 teams. You have the Vikings. I think their strength is Brian Flores, his defense, his ability to confuse opposing quarterbacks. And then, like I said, the Bears, I do think they improve offensively long-term. Ben Johnson, Lions offensive coordinator, we know how good that Lions offense has been in previous years, but this is week 1. I don't think they're going to have it mastered. I certainly don't think Caleb Williams is going to have it mastered. Not to say he's not a good quarterback, but from what we saw last year, I think it's going to take some time. So, yeah, I do like the under here. Just think it's just a battle. It's a battle. It's a divisional game. I'll think you'll see, 21-17. I'll call it.
Okay, especially when you've got Brian Flores, the DC there for the Minnesota Vikings. He's going to bring it against Ben Johnson there for the Chicago Bears. What do you think of Ben Johnson going forward in his career with Chicago? Do you like the Bears targeted him for their head coaching position?
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense because last year the Bears were supposed to have this drastically improved offense. They had some good weapons, and the last regime just couldn't really get it going. So I think it makes sense that they could have some success. I'll probably look for spots to play the Bears. It wasn't one that was super on my radar this week, but I'll definitely be watching. And the Bears are kind of a team that I'm interested in going forward. So yeah, somewhere down the line, I'll look for a spot to back the Bears. I mostly like what I've seen, what I'm hearing, and then I'll be interested to see how it plays out tonight.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people jumping in chat here. I'm just going to answer a couple of these. And Nick coming at us with the first half under 21. I'd feel more comfortable with that first half under 21 than the full game. Not sure how you're feeling there, Adam. The over and under of trick plays for Chicago. That's going to be an interesting one. You think Ben Johnson's going to come out with something crazy tonight?
I'd be surprised. I mean, only because, again, I think he's got to keep it simple early for Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
I think the emphasis is going to be on getting rid of the ball. And that's why I like the tight ends to get involved. Again, I don't think Loveland go over is a bad play by any means. I just think they've priced him in a little bit. So that's why I chose Kmet. But you could probably play them both. They'll probably both get their targets here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great Monday night football night. Adam, where can people find you this week? What shows are you going to be on, and what kind of specials are you running right now?
Yeah, I know it's football season, but we're not done with baseball yet. I do a show every day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, on the WagerTalk YouTube channel called Total Bases. You can catch me there every day. We put up a special on my page that's all access, get you all the baseball, all the football, and I am off to a nice start in football season as well. So come by. Total Bases is a really good show. I have myself, Brian Leonard, Tokyo Brandon. We really go deep dive into the baseball slate for an hour, and we do it 5 days a week. So come by if you're still into the bases, and even if you're not, probably learn something, find something to bet on.
Yeah, absolutely. People don't forget about those bases out there. And again, we do still have that $70 weekly special, which you can jump in on all of Adam's plays for just $11 a day. That is expiring at midnight tomorrow. And then Adam, $5 Tuesday tomorrow. You can have some plays up later tonight for Tuesday's bets.
Absolutely. Still a lot of value on the diamond. I fully expect to have an MLB play out, for $5 Tuesday.
Awesome. Adam, thank you so much for joining us here on Last Call tonight. Best of luck in all your bets.
All right. Thanks for having me, Joe. Take care. Enjoy the game.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, head on over to wagertalk.com. Make sure you grab everything Adam has for sale. He's absolutely crushing it in baseball right now. And as you heard, he did so well in preseason as well as cashing yesterday in a Sunday football. And you make sure, don't miss out on what he's got going on. We're going to bring Carmine Bianco in here to talk what he's liking today. And we've got to talk about his Buffalo Bills here. Carmine? Congratulations. Did you lose hope? Don't tell me you turned off the TV and went to bed.
No, I didn't turn off the TV. And I'll tell you why I didn't turn off the TV, because the Bills are never out of it.
Yeah.
And I still remember the playoff game leaving Buffalo at halftime when they were losing by 30 some odd points, and listening to the game on the way home to beat traffic. And the Bills staged the greatest comeback in playoff history, coming back to win that game against Houston. So, no, I never give it up. I watched it. I didn't think they would come. They were like at 1.1% chance to come back in that game. But when you have Josh Allen, you always have a chance. And then a little bit of luck as well, too. Obviously, Derrick Henry fumbling the ball. That doesn't happen very often. And then I think the biggest mistake Baltimore made in that game, and then we'll talk about tonight's game, was they should have gone for it on 4th and 2. Keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, especially when they only need a field goal. You gave him an opportunity and he beat you. So that's huge. It is huge in the scheme of things. Although it's week 1, it's huge that if we come into the end of the season and tiebreakers come in for home field advantage, the Bills hold the tiebreaker over the Ravens. So they've got one bullet in the chamber.
Yeah, absolutely. It was phenomenal to see that comeback. I just wish I got on those live betting lines. If anyone knows what the Buffalo Bills were when they were down 15 points straight up on that money line, please drop it here in the chat, because I'm absolutely kicking myself, Carmine. I was out at the pub, so I didn't have my computer in front of me. Just not as easy sometimes to get those bets in on your phone, at least after you've been watching all day Sunday football. So you guys definitely, it was 10-1 on some shops. That is crazy. Carmine, congratulations to your Bills. Plus 3,000, Sean saying he saw as well. I wish I had it, Carmine. Did you think
I wish I had it too. And I appreciate the congrats. I had no part in the comeback. I will say that. I did fire quite a few words at the TV. I'm glad I didn't have to go to Best Buy this morning. It would have been horrible if that, and they came close to blocking that field goal at the end. If you saw the player's reaction, he basically went through his hands, I believe, and through the uprights, and he just knew he was inches from tipping that ball and saving the game for. So I think that's when the remote goes through, when you witness a comeback, and then it is not enough. So I'm pretty happy about that. So let's talk tonight's game.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to jump into this, Carmine. We're starting to see a lot of the books moving this to a straight pick 'em. And then there's other books, 1.5 still at FanDuel for the Minnesota Vikings. And then we're seeing the 1 over at BetMGM. What are you liking for a side, firstly, in this matchup?
So, this is one of those ones. Again, week one, and I get it. And Trig talked about JJ McCarthy. I think before we went to air, and we were talking about him. He's been there a year, but he's essentially a rookie quarterback making his first start on the road, and those haven't favored well. I think the last 30 times, and we also had one yesterday as well too. The last 30 times, there's something like 8-20, 8-22 straight up, and we had a rookie on the road yesterday in Cam Ward in Denver. I believe it was in Denver. So that should be like now 8-23. He's going into Chicago. I know the hype. It's Monday Night Football. The Bears, obviously, their offensive line is better. I think we talk about Caleb Williams and how is he going to play this season? Well, I think obviously having Ben Johnson is going to help him. If you don't think a very good offensive coordinator can help turn a team around, you just look at the numbers and these numbers are a little skewed, but Jared Goff, Ben's no longer there, and I think they still ran a lot of his plays but Jared Goff has had 5 offensive coordinators, 2 of them named Sean McVay and Ben Johnson. The other 3, his record with the other 3 is 0-19-1. It's skewed. He was 0-7 in his rookie season, but you still can't ignore it. I think Ben Johnson was a great signing by the Bears as far as a head coach, and hopefully whether they're ready to go out of the gate, we'll see tonight. But if they are, I think you got to like the Bears here. Obviously, you have JJ McCarthy. He's got Justin Jefferson. Listen, he's missing Addison tonight, so a lot of the guys are going to pick up the slack, and we're going to talk about a couple of props based on that. But I think my lean here is the Bears. I think it's the right side. They rebuilt that offensive line for him. You got to protect them. We saw what happens to QBs, especially these rookie ones or even sophomore ones, Joe, when you don't have an offensive line in front of them. And just think of Brees Young of Carolina. 2 years ago, 65 sacks allowed by Carolina, 32 sacks allowed last season. They're getting better. Carolina will get better, although they didn't really show up this past weekend against the Jags. But
hard game.
I'm hopeful that Caleb has a good night tonight.
Yeah, I'm hopeful he has a good night as well. You talked about the improvements on the offensive line there, and then Ben Johnson really knows how to get those quarterbacks going. So what do you expect him to do basically with his legs and his arms? Do you expect him to be put in those situations where he is going to have to run this ball, or do you think they're going to open up that passing game tonight?
I think there's there's going to be a conservative point of this game. This is what makes the total so tough. All the value is gone in the total. If you played this total a week to a week and a half ago, when I think it was at 44.5, I think at some points, at some places, you got that number. Now, having closing line value doesn't always guarantee you're going to get the win. God only knows. I've been on the right side of the CLV and on the wrong side of the final result. So, but it remains to be seen. We'll see what kind of, what we get out of Minnesota. I like a couple props in tonight's game, and they're based on the fact that I think that Minnesota is going to be playing from behind with JJ. I think he has a slower start than Caleb does tonight, but as far as the total, I wouldn't even play it at this point. I think the numbers dropped to the point now where I think it's just unplayable. And you just don't know what's going to happen at the end of the game. The unders definitely dominated this past weekend. I think there were 12-1, 13-1.
13-1, Carm. It was crazy to see all those games
there's
flying
a couple overs. I think obviously the Bills game went over, and the
Steelers.
Jets and Steelers of all teams, the Jets and Steelers went over the total, the lowest total on the board. Almost had the highest number, highest final score, if not for that Buffalo game. But a couple of props, Joe, that I want to get into is obviously the one I think everyone's going to key in on. And you talked about like FanDuel. having still some 1.5s out there.
Yeah.
Some of these books are slow adjusting on their props, and I think you have to grab them at the right time because 1 or 2 yards makes all the difference. You look at Justin Jefferson, and he's 79.5 before we went to air. He was at 79.5 at DK. And that's a significant number as opposed to like 80.5. And I'll explain why. Last year, he averaged 88.4 yards per game. He pretty much crushed that number. 64% of his games, he has gone over 80 yards, or he's at 80 or more, 49 of 77 games. At 79.5, that stat applies, 80 or more yards, 64% of the time. If you can cash a bet with minus 111 juice, 64% of the time, you are making money. You are building a pool in your backyard, Joe, if you don't already have one, with a little lazy river like the Prez has. That is one prop I do like. Any thoughts on that?
Let's see if we can find the odds on that one right now. What are you seeing there, Carmine? I'm just trying
79.5 minus 111, but I'm looking as I click that. That's what that number stands at right now. But again, it's talking about as we get closer to game time, these are going to get the player props sort of come into it. People look at the game and they think, okay, I don't want to touch the total. The game's a pick 'em. I don't want to touch that. So they gravitate over to props, and he's now at 80.5 minus 114. So that's what I talked about grabbing it while you can. So yes, Sean, the Prez does have a lazy river and a pool. It is unbelievable. So 80.5 as one of the guys just put in there. So he's obviously going to pick it with Addison out. That Jefferson's going to get a lot of the targets as he should. But another player who flies under the radar screen, I think, is Jalen Naylor. He's at 20.5 right now with minimal juice as well, too. I think minus 111 is the vig on him. Mm-hmm. And again, other players need to pick up the slack with Addison out. So you look at Addison last year, missed weeks 2 and 3. What did Naylor do? He came in and he went over he had 31 in one game, 54 in the other. So these are numbers that he normally doesn't put up, but he came in with Addison out and picked up yards. So he's going to get the targets. It's just a matter of you have a different quarterback now in that system for Minnesota. Can he get them the ball? If he's under pressure and the Bears are, blitzing him, trying to get him to release that ball quicker, do Jefferson and Naylor suffer because of that? So it remains to be seen. It is one where I feel that if they cash if the Bears are in front, and you have the Vikings playing from behind. Obviously, you vacate the running game and you go to the passing game.
Yeah, we're seeing a couple 18.5s out there for Naylor, so you are getting a better number. Any concerns about his hand injury? He's listed as he is playing. The props are up, so we're going to get him out there on the field. But did that enter your capping at all?
No, because they said that he would be playing tonight. So the great thing is, if you're playing at these books, and I don't know why they do it, but if a player doesn't start, you're going to get refunded. If a player does start and gets injured early in a game, a lot of these books like DK refund you your bet or give it to you in bet credits and stuff. That's not something that's going to happen in Vegas. Do not go to Circa and ask Jeffrey Benson, the sportsbook manager, if he's going to refund you the money, because he's going to give you the big flat no on that one. God bless him. But those are a couple of the prop bets that I'm looking towards tonight that I'm going to play.
I absolutely love it. Are you kind of shocked? I just want to ask you one more on this game, one more question, and then I want to see if there's anything you're looking ahead for next week, week 2 in the NFL. But are you kind of shocked that there's so much love for JJ out here and not as much love for Caleb when Caleb's already got a season under his belt, Carm?
Yeah, it is. I think it's just because Minnesota was just such a phenomenal team last year. They put up a ton of points. Again, a different quarterback and one who worked well in that system. They let him walk in they let him walk in the offseason, so they obviously know something. But we'll see. Rookie quarterback essentially making his first start on the road in a tough environment.
Yeah.
Soldier Field in Chicago is a tough place. We'll see what happens tonight. This is why they play the games. We love it. We take a side based on an opinion that we have about the teams and how they did in the offseason to improve themselves. And I think one of the most important things that can't be lost is the fact that the Bears knew that they have to protect Caleb Williams and went out and rebuilt that offensive line. It is supposed to be better. We'll see if it's better tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Hoping so much so that they can open up those running lanes for their running backs and have success. But Carm, week 2's on the doorstep. We kick off week 2 with Thursday Night Football, Washington taking on the Green Bay Packers. That one's got a total of 48.5. And then we have a slew of games on Sunday. Is there any lines that are really standing out to you? Any overreactions from what we saw in week 1 on the Sunday football schedule?
Yeah, I haven't seen any lines right now that that seem like they're overreactions. Like I saw the Bills did open at like 7 in some places and then dropped to 6.5. Obviously, a divisional game where you've got a home divisional home dog, and the Bills coming off an emotional game. But that is not one of the 2 games that I think is likely to make my card unless that number just drops a little bit more where it has value, and I don't see it. I think it hovers between 6.5 and 7. One of the games is Dallas and the New York Giants. You know, Dallas played well in that game against Philadelphia. I thought they did extremely well. They've had a few extra days of rest. They get the Giants, and Daboll's already announced that Russell Wilson is going to be their quarterback, their starter in week 2 for them. He didn't have the best game against Washington. 17 of 37, 168 yards, a QB rating of 59.3. That doesn't put any fear in my hearts when you're playing any team. And going into Dallas, where I think last season, and I talked about it in a previous show, I think last season the Dallas Cowboys had a terrible season on their home field, but the 2 previous seasons, they were 8-0 each of those seasons, 16-0 going into last year. And then they just couldn't, the team just did not have anything last season. I think they did look good in week 1, even though it was a loss. There's some positive takeaways from that. I don't see any positive takeaways from the New York Giants in week 1. So I would lean to Dallas at home, and I think that line is somewhere around 5. I think it may or may not be.
I'm seeing a 6s. There is a 5.5 out there for the Dallas Cowboys at FanDuel currently, but then the rest of the board, I am seeing those 6s there. It's going to be interesting to see what Russ has in the next game, and we know Dallas struggled last season at home, so it's between Russ and Jerry Jones where that faith comes. Man, that's a hard one, Carmine.
I know. Listen, if you're asking me to start a team now, and they said to you could choose a quarterback, would you like Dak Prescott or would you like Russell Wilson? I'm going to take Dak Prescott. I'm going to reluctantly take him, but I'm going to take him. It is, if those are my only 2 choices, I'm going to take Dak. A quarterback can win you games, and then a bad quarterback, and I'm not saying Russell's a bad quarterback, they can lose you games. They had plenty of opportunities to make that game close against the Washington Commanders, and they didn't do it. So that has to fall. He has the tools. He has the players. He has the wide receivers. He just did not get them the ball when they needed it. So, Sean, let's hit that like button. Show Jo some love here. She's doing a fantastic job. Speaking of tonight's game, and this is looking at next week's schedule, is we talked about Detroit. Now, are there any takeaways from Detroit? Is there any overreactions? There are none. They just did not play well. They sort of malfunctioned. But I think they're still the best team in that division, hands down. And I know the Green Bay Packer fans are going to come after me for that one. But it's still the Lions' division to lose. This is a good team. They're going to put it together. Jared Goff's going to put it together. They'll get it going. They just didn't look right in that first game, and it's going to take them a week or two. But now they're going to get the Chicago Bears coming in on a short week, playing tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what's happening in that game, but you're laying less than a touchdown in this one. It's a short line with Detroit, and I have to believe in Detroit, the Lions are definitely the play.
I'm completely with you. I am shocked. I just pulled up the lines over on FanDuel for the NFC North winner. Right now, it's the Green Bay Packers at -120 after that win. We know the Lions were the odds-on favorite going into week one. They have taken the Lions below the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings at +370. Third favorite there are the Detroit Lions at +400. Then the Chicago Bears at +650. Carm, that's an overreaction.
Yeah, it is. And if obviously if Chicago wins tonight, the odds on Minnesota drop or increase, drop in the sense of they'll probably be the third choice as Detroit moves to the second choice. Chicago's, I don't think there's any thoughts of the Bears winning the division. It is a 2-horse race, the Lions and the Packers. And the Packers still have to come to Detroit to face this Lions team. And I think that happens on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, it's going to be a great Thanksgiving Day. I'm sure we're going to have so much going on here at Wager Talk, and you don't want to miss out. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell to make sure you're not missing out on any of those shows. But Carm, with that being said, we've got NHL season right around the corner, and I know you've got a special deal coming up for NFL and NHL combined.
Yeah, definitely. This is a deal I put together with our office, and you can get a full season of the NFL and a full season of NHL, including the Stanley Cup playoffs, and of course, including the NFL playoffs. And that is $777. It's normally $11.98. And all of my plays in the NFL, and I mentioned this on previous shows, are going to be it's going to be flat betting them. They're going to be 4% or 5% plays all season long. There will be no 1%, 2%, or 3% plays, because the 4% and 5% have been my best plays over the last 3 years since the start of the 2022 season. Up 130 units, 3 seasons, up 130 units when releasing a 4 or 5% play at WagerTalk in the NFL, and that's number one amongst all the cappers at WagerTalk. So I take pride in that record, and we're going to try and run it back this year and have another strong year. 1-1 to start the week one, a couple 4% plays. One was on the 49ers who covered their number, and then one was on a total in the Jags game, which didn't have a chance because Carolina just didn't show up. And then, of course, NHL. Monday, you can watch me Monday to Fridays breaking down games live at 11 a.m. with Andrew McInnes. I will be doing some live shows as well, too. Hopefully popping in with Jo when she's doing some of that live in-game NHL betting. And, of course, all the features along the way. I'm going to have a bankroll challenge this year, just showing you how flat betting in the NHL, you can make money throughout the year. And then, of course, the 6 and 60 segment, which everyone loves every Friday. An advanced look at the NHL. So if you head over to WagerTalk in the deals section, you can find that, or on my page at wt.buzz/CB. And going live shortly will be a 4% best bet in soccer for tomorrow's World Cup. Today's play was a winner, and on a 13-2-2 run with 4% soccer plays as well too. So we're going to try and get that to 14-3-3. With tomorrow's, which you get for only $5.
Well, Carm, keep crushing it out there, crushing those books, and everyone head on over to wagertalk.com. Carm, thanks so much for joining us here today on Last Call.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Carmine. Okay, you guys, we got all of Carmine's bets. You want to make sure you head on over to wagertalk.com to get his packages. Like he said, the NHL season is right around the corner. You can parlay basically his NFL, NHL season, combine the two sports all into one package over there with him. And you don't want to miss out. He was talking about some live betting opportunities we're going to have in the NHL. You don't want to miss out on that. The overreaction in the NHL is crazy, but we're going to stay on topic here. We're going to look at the NFL game tonight. I see all of you guys in chat. Really appreciate you guys popping in here today. The Bears to win with Al Johnson and Kyler Gordon tonight. I still think the Bears have every ability to get the win without those guys. I'm not concerned about it. I think Ben Johnson really will have Caleb Williams ready to play this game tonight. And I think we're going to see some special things out of them. I think too much love is coming in on the Minnesota Vikings. I think Sam Darnold was a better quarterback than people expected last season for the Vikings, and we'll see some differences. But Tom Viola is going to jump in here. Now we're going to talk some props. We're also going to look at what he's liking for Thursday night or for Monday Night Football. It's only Monday, Tom. It feels like it should be Thursday already.
I know. That's the NFL Week 1 effect. We just had this whole weekend where we're like, wow, we put in a lot of work this weekend. And let me tell you, Sunday night after that last game ended, and the dopamine hit from the entire day just comes down and you're sitting there. The Sunday scaries of Week 1 hit like nothing else.
Did they ever? Okay, so Monday Night Football tonight, we've seen the movement in the lines. We're starting to see less of the pick'ems out there. People have jumped on those numbers, now sitting more so. The lot of 1.5s there for the Bears. A couple of books still hanging on to the Minnesota Vikings, reluctant to move off of that with them laying the 1.5. So shop those lines, you guys. Go on over to oddslogic.com to get those. That total, Tom, sitting at 43.5. I know you got props for us, but what's your thoughts on the game as a whole?
I mean, game as a whole, I really have no interest in the sides. We've got a rookie quarterback with an established coach who we've seen do a lot of good work versus a rookie head coach with a second-year quarterback who we've also seen do a lot of good work. With the Bears injuries, it really is. This game is going to come down to, is JJ McCarthy good at football or not? And we don't have that answer. I'm perfectly fine letting this one go without really taking a stance as far as a side. The total has really just come down. If you look at where it's been and what this line history is, I get that we had all of these reports of, they were resodding the field. Soldier Field's not quite ready. It's a little bit slippery. We saw this game go from like 45s down to this 43.5. Everybody wants to say, slippery field, poor conditions hurts the offense. The defense has a harder job. You are on a slippery field and you don't know where the other guy is trying to run to. Like it makes it a nightmare out there for defenses as well. I don't have anything personally as far as the full game. I'd be curious to play an over and kind of say, okay, you've got some Bears injuries in the secondary. Maybe it's an easier day for JJ McCarthy and maybe he ends up looking good. I don't have anything with that. I will say I did take the first quarter over 7.5, but I got it at
Ooh, I like that. That's a nice one.
Yeah, it's all about the line that you got there. Like I'm getting a coin flip at $1.25. I'm going to take that every time.
Now, do you think mistakes could come by both of these quarterbacks and we could see those interceptions maybe leading to a pick six? And that's where my concern came with this total. So many people absolutely loving this game to the under. But I think if we do see mistakes, Tom, this one could just slightly go over that total.
I think that when it comes to mistakes, it's going to be how conservative are these coaches with their quarterbacks and how aggressive are these defensive coordinators with blitzing them and making them uncomfortable and forcing those mistakes. If we go out and we see two games with run heavy offenses, like you're just not going to be able to get there on that. But I do think that might be wise to take an interception prop just because of the fact that, you do have two really young quarterbacks playing here. And if they do try and be a little pass happy, maybe they do chuck it a lot and you get some of these mistakes from these rookies that are a little less conservative with the ball.
Well, one prop I absolutely love is those defensive touchdowns. So the pick six for the Minnesota Vikings coming in at plus 800, the pick six for the Chicago Bears at plus 830. If anyone's crazy enough to jump on those props, I sprinkled if I'm talking about it, Tom. But Tom, there's love for the stash coming in here. Let's hear your props. See if there's love for the props as well.
We'll see. My first one that I'm going with here, I know a lot of people are liking the under, liking his total under, or staying away from it, but I'm on JJ McCarthy's passing yards over. It got as low as 212, and now it's coming back up. Like, you've got some places that still have a 220 out there right now. Make sure your line shop. FanDuel still got 214.5 at -112. That's the best line that I'm seeing in the market right now. That's a fairly baseline stat for a guy that second year pro, had a year while he was recovering from injury to kind of sit behind this, to kind of sit down and learn this offensive system. I know I called him a rookie before. He's not, but it's still his first start.
Yeah.
But like, you could be a fairly baseline competent quarterback and hit this kind of a number. Plus you factor in the weaknesses, the defensive injuries for the Bears. I'm partial to taking a shot on this week 1 and saying, hey, you know what? We've got a chance. Like, we've got a chance here at a very manageable number with a guy who's got good weapons. You've got Justin Jefferson. Yeah, you've got Adam Thielen. Like, I'm not worried about this Bears defense so much, where I don't think that JJ McCarthy's ceiling is a little bit better than average quarterback, and that's really all you need to hit a number like this.
Oh, absolutely. We've seen Russ go over that. We've seen Mason Rudolph go over that. We can name those average quarterbacks out there, and I do think he has a better night than that. You mentioned Adam Thielen. What are your thoughts on him? I know there was a little bit of backlash with them picking up Adam Thielen, and I don't understand why. He had a solid season last year with the Panthers. I know he was plagued with some injuries, but he was a Pro Bowler 2017, 2018, getting up there in age. Can he stay healthy? Do you like him?
I mean, I like him. He was good for Bryce Young last year, and that Panthers offense struggled mightily. And really, he was one of the only options that you had at the time. The trade made a ton of sense, bringing back to the Vikings. He's a team legend. Everybody, the fan base loves him. And you also, most importantly, get another veteran receiver in that locker room that can help out. And you have a guy, he doesn't really need to stay healthy. He's just there for the first couple of weeks until Jordan Addison comes back from suspension. It's not like the Bears gave up a fortune to get him. This wasn't, I'm not expecting him to go out and have an MVP season. I'm expecting him to be competent for a few weeks, give him a deep threat that still does have a little bit of a step. I don't have any props on him in this game, but I think that he helps this passing attack more than not.
Yeah, I absolutely am with you on that. We've got people in the chat saying all over DeAndre Swift props tonight, catching and receiving. I know he does have a prop of 53.5 for that, for his rushing yards, actually. I kind of like his rushing yards here. I think we're going to see some action on the ground for DeAndre Swift.
I don't have anything in his rushing. I actually, the number's kind of gone at this point. I had under 16.5 rushing yards or receiving yards at -112 for DeAndre Swift.
Okay.
But that number's gone now, but I'm fading the receiving market a little bit just from what my numbers have.
Yeah, you absolutely have to look at some of those numbers. If they're no value, you can't bet on that. But Tom, anything else for us for this Monday night slate?
Yeah, I've got two more for you here. I took Aaron Jones anytime touchdown at +170. Yeah, he's the lead running back for a team that has a quarterback making his first start and is probably going to use their ground game a little bit more, especially if they get down to the red zone. I don't see them trying to force their quarterback in his first start to make a back shoulder fade to Justin Jefferson. Give me them running it with Aaron Jones and trying to do the Derrick Henry thing a little bit, because you know that he can get in there and they're going to call his number down near the goal line. The only other one that I have, numbers moved a little bit against me here, but I have Jordan Mason over 4.5 receiving yards. I had it at -105. It's now down to 3.5, -120.
Okay.
Very simple. He's going to get one target. Does he catch it? If yes, you're probably winning this bet. If not, you're not winning this bet. But the way you want to bet props isn't trying to predict any single game. It's looking over the course of the season and repeating a lot of these coin flips where when you're getting something like a -105, like I was on the 4.5, that 1 yard makes a bit of a difference, especially at that price. But I love the -105 and just saying, okay, we're flipping a coin and we're getting just a slight bit of juice on it. But if we keep flipping that coin all year, he's probably going to be going over that. Yeah,
I absolutely love all of your bets tonight, Tom. I want to thank you so much for joining us on the show today here on Last Call. You guys drop your questions, comments in the chat. We're going to wrap up here in just a bit. But Tom, where can people find you? I know you've got a great show on Fridays.
Yeah, we had a very great show right here on this channel. Look up Prop Culture every Friday here, noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's myself and Derek Carty of EV Analytics. We had a nice 26% ROI. I want to say we went 5-3 on our plays in week 1. So starting out great out of the gate here and hoping to make you guys some more money. And you can catch me online at TV at Work, always posting a lot of random stuff. So I post my MLS plays every week. We're up 15 units on the season. So we've been happy with soccer. It's winding down and we're getting into football, and I'll be posting plenty more. Please come check it out. We'd love to talk with everybody.
Thanks, Tom. Really appreciate your time today. Best of luck on Monday Night Football.
Same to you, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, we are about to wrap up here. I want to give you my best bets, what I'm betting in the game, but I want to remind you guys, make sure you do head on over to WagerTalk.com. Tomorrow is $5 Tuesday. You want to make sure you get all of your favorite cappers bets for that $5. And then the special that's running, the NFL special, it finishes tomorrow at midnight. So that was $77 for your favorite handicapper for a week. It's only $11 a day, you guys. So make sure you go on over, check that out before that special is gone. And I want to thank so much for Carmine Bianco, Adam Trigger, and Tom Viola for joining us today, breaking down this Monday Night Football game. I am live for Monday and Thursday night last calls here. And then, of course, Kelly and Ariel taking you through the weekend on last call at that 11 a.m. Eastern mark. But looking at the lines tonight, where I'm going to go with my best bet, I'm absolutely loving the Bears team total. It's 21.5 on most of your books. Now, you're going to see that movement with the juice that you're going to lay. I saw up to a plus 105 for the over 21.5 with a little bit of movement in these lines. I got it at minus 115. I do think the Bears under Ben Johnson are going to find a way to put points up on the board. I'm not counting Caleb Williams out of this game for being able to run a touchdown in himself. I think it's a really strong way to look. We know when he gets under that pressure, he can use his legs. And I think he's really going to help this team find success in this game. Now, the defense, I think it's worth looking at that defensive touchdown. J.J. McCarthy, we're going to see what he's made of tonight, right? This is the first career road start here. And it's a lot of pressure going into Soldier Field. I think he's going to have some success, but also make mistakes. I think you'd look at his rushing prop in this game. That's where I ended up going with him. And I think for a long shot, if you really want a long shot, take J.J. McCarthy here to run one in with his legs. It's plus 600. We know when he was at Michigan, and I'm a Buckeyes fan, you guys, so I watched him a lot because that was the opponent, right? So watching him with Michigan, I saw his ability to use his legs under that pressure. He definitely can run one in for them tonight. So at plus 600, I think it's worth a shot. I did see it as high as plus 680 on one book. So again, shop those lines. I think Adam Thielen will be that veteran presence out there in the wide receiver role, those hands that he can trust. His anytime touchdown at plus 340. And then for the Bears, I'm looking at Odunze to come out nice and strong. Odunze here, we know that last season he only had, 3 touchdowns, but the Bears coaching staff saying they have a lot of faith in him this season, and I could see him being that target. We know Keenan Allen is gone for the Chicago Bears, and I think between Odunze and Cole Kmet, we're going to see both of those guys get those targets out there from Caleb Williams. So I'll look at Odunze for that touchdown. I love where Adam Trigger went with Cole Kmet. I actually fired up his lines. It's interesting. I got the numbers in front of me here. If you look at Kmet, it is 11.5 for his receiving yards. I fired him up for a sprinkle, 50 plus receiving yards at plus 1,200. And when you're saying, what the heck is she talking about? Why would she take it up to there? Because one game last season, the first game versus the Minnesota Vikings, Cole Kmet had 60-something receiving yards in that game. I believe it was 69. But I would take a shot on the 50 plus. If it hits, it hits. It is lottery money, though, you guys. That is a small sprinkle. There was a number for the 20 plus. The 20 plus being a solid number as well. But you guys, I appreciate you so much for joining me here on Last Call. And thank you for everyone for jumping into the comments. I'm just seeing those first quarters. You are still taking the over 7.5. I love where you're going with that. But thanks again for joining me here on Last Call. I'll see you on Thursday as we preview the Thursday night football game. Stay hot, you guys, and let's make some freaking money tonight.